Hey everybody. So yeah, yesterday we finally got to the point where we're back on target, on track to do stuff. Actually, I just noticed this extra bar there. Probably want to set some sort of min height um, attribute, but I guess that this it there's no real reason to do that right now. Um, so what we want to do, I think the now that we're kind of back on track, the goal is to sort of work on the logs. So basically, right now you hit record and you say you the first time you have to do this, hello, and then you get like this. But in the meantime, there was a bunch of uh, of logs that were made. I believe if I hit the control I, you'll yeah you see basically there was two logs that were or two events that were handled, one for publishing the result hello and then one is publishing end. There's actually, I believe there was like six or eight different things. Like I think when we started there should have been there's an event that we could have hooked into and all that. And so what we want is if we're here and we hit um, like something and we hit the button and all that, we want to see is this number sort of over here change so that we get some sort of indicator that the number of logs, and then when you get in here you can see logs under here. So that's the general idea. um, but and we really want to be able to like have um, an overall count of overall logs and then a count and then have all the individual logs as well. And then we're also going to want like a list of all logs sort of in order that they came in, and then we'll probably want a list of each individual kind of log. Um, so, um, you know, every adventure has a first step, and our first step is going to be that the step that we're going to do today is going to be to I guess what we need is a general set of things. And the problem is of logs. And when the one of our main problems I think that we're going to have to resolve here very shortly is strongly typing these different kinds of logs. Right now, it looks like we have three kinds. We have voice result, audio start, and audio end. And I do not even know really what they have in common with each other, but it would be nice to have some interfaces to that. So that would be a very good potential first step. But I think the first step I'm going to do is sort of exacerbate that problem and actually create like an all logs. Um, and I guess since we have this sort of example here, it makes sense to um, all logs. And that is, we're just going to create a signal that does that. I'm just going to have faith that I have, and that signal is going to be very loosely typed. So I'm not going to strongly type it. I think the inverse. I don't know. I guess the inverse of not strongly typed is weakly typed. So it's going to be very very weakly typed, and it's going to initially do an undefined. So basically, whatever we do is probably going to be an array or undefined. And then it's going to be an array of any's at first, and then it's eventually going to be an array of logs. And logs will have some sort of consistent typing. So that was our first mini little step in the path to doing that. So now um, we really do actually need a logs listing. And I think this speech service is the place to have that logs listing. I might end up regretting that. So a logs listing, logs list is an array. It's going to be an array of any. So it's very weakly. Um, a weakly typed array. And I guess the first thing it's going to be that. And I thought that that's how you did that. Any, maybe, right? If they were strings, would I do it this way? String. Yeah. Oh, silly. Okay, so that's saying, hey, it's that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to an array of any, and I'm going to update. I'm going to signal the logs list, whatever's in the logs list. So that is basically I'll be listening for all logs. So that means that I want to update this logs list and then publish every time a log happens. So I think the best way to do that will be to have like a function called update. And so that is, so all is such a funny word, right? Because it kind of can be everything, but then it can kind of be like a list of everything, but it could also be like to do everything. Um, so all logs might not be the right word, because then when I make the corresponding update all logs, it kind of sounds like I might be updating a bunch of different logs. So um, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to log listing. And then I'm going to say that I publish the log listings. And I don't really want anything outside of this to update that. And really, more than anything, all this does is like sort of enforce discipline. So if I'm in some other function, in some component or something that has access to this, I won't be able to, like, just for convenience, update the log listings. I really only want that to. So then now I can say update log listings. And I feel like that is a more list item, which is any, and it returns, I'm going to say it returns nothing, avoid. We might end up returning like a length or something in the future. So basically what this thing is going to do is it's going to say this dot all logs dot push list item. And then why doesn't it let me do that? Oh, log listing, not. Okay, this log listing. Lost listing. I like the sounds of that. Lost listing. Ending of the show. I just wanted to say that the ending of the show, Lost, was one of the worst endings of all time. That might be slightly off topic. Okay, so I think that's reasonable, but I do think I should make this signal so that we know that. Okay, so then what we're going to do is once we've done that, we're going to publish that. So what? Crazy. Okay, so we're going to publish the update. Publish list update. I'm going to say this dot all log signals dot set list. So basically, this is going to any listeners that are out there listening to this signal are going to get a reference. So it's kind of a bummer because they're getting a full reference to this. So maybe I should have updated it. Maybe I should have like made a copy of it and then published that copy. I don't know. I don't know. Let's not worry about that. Okay. So basically now we have this log listing update. And then the next step is basically every time anything adds a has a result, we're going to publish it. So we're going to update our log listing. And really, for now, all we're worried about is the count. So there's like, gosh, there's a million things that we could do right now and all that. But right now, all I want is to be able to come in here and see a count here and see a count there. I don't think I'll finish that today because we're probably already pretty long. Yeah, we're already at 11 minutes. Um, and so basically, I'm just going to call update log listing in each one of these. So basically, and then I'm just going to send the whole result. Obviously, we can take anything at the moment. This is not how this ends, but I think it's a good start. So this was going to give me basically audio start, audio end. All of those signals are going to have the individual list of what it is, and then the log listings signal is going to have them all together and in order, in the order that they were received. So now I do think that adding that word signal to the end of that was a good idea. And the only reason I think that was a good idea is just because I've done some other projects and and it's kind of useful to know what you're working with on the other side on um, whatever it is. And this is sort of a tech debt with interest. It's going to get harder with time. So this is a good time to just do that. All right. So something's broken. Line 19. I really enjoy the fact that you can just do this and it'll take you to the problem. Okay, so yeah, this voice result signal. So that's really nice that we can do that. And it's so now let me move over to discrete and just make sure we didn't break anything. Um, and that will be a step closer to having um, logs. I did want to take 1 second to say like th- the way they do this styling in Angular material is why this is happening, because this div cannot quite calculate the height of this button um, effectively. Um, so it may end up not being an issue as we add other things. So it's probably not worth dealing with at this time, or it might be a bigger issue. But it is something that, like, even if we did fix it right now, it's very likely that that fix will either be useless. So then, you have this code that isn't actually doing anything because it would have got fixed. It would have resolved itself anyways, or it could be like um, not complete. Like, so you get it, it fixes it right now, but then as you move farther down, more issues present. So it would be better just to deal with those in the future. So this is like one of those debts negative interests. Like you could end up paying this bill, but now you're going to have another bill that you're going to have to pay that's going to be the same cost. Um, you just have to pay an extra bill like you wouldn't have had to. So, anyways, let's just make sure nothing is broken. We are, in fact, compiling properly. Um, so, hi there. So, yes, so nothing is broken. Let's just make sure there's nothing broken in the console and all that. So, um, I guess, yeah. So I think next week, the very first thing I want to do is in this, if this is in fact, I don't think this is a, we'll create a component here and we'll set it up to listen for changes to all the logs, that all that logs, and then show that value, whatever the log count is, the length of the array, and we'll get that in there and hopefully up there. And I think that will be a good goal for next week. Um, and yeah, and once that's done, we have tons of other stuff to do. Um, but I think that's a really, really cool. And I do think it is like in most applications that I work on that use tabs and stuff, it's just really neat to have. Like if you have a logs or something that's like a list of things that are created, having an actual real time counter in the menu item is just really, really neat. So I'm excited to get to build something like that. But yeah, so we are at 16:30, not too bad. About half of yesterday. So if this is a with the exception of my little um, lost the TV show rant, I think I stayed pretty focused on you know the code and just being like all about code. And if that's what you like, like this thing. If you liked yesterday's more rambling, um, like that one. If you dislike, like not knowing what you're gonna get, like every day, you don't know if you're gonna get the rambling version of me or you're gonna get the more focused version of me. Yeah, don't like either or like both of them. Either way. And then if you're like me, and I'm just gonna be honest, like literally 90% of what I watch, whenever I watch YouTube, I watch on my TV, and I don't even think there's a way to like things on my TV. I use a an OS, the TV. I think it's the LG OS, and I don't think that you can even like things. And then not only that, but I generally watch almost everything that I watch on YouTube as a guest, so you absolutely can't like things. I mean, don't have any illusions; they know exactly who I am. But if you are logged in as a guest, then you can't like. Or if I am looking at YouTube, I'm at work and I'm generally logged in as a guest there too. I do know based on the ads consistency between my guest account at work and my account that I have here that I upload things in, that Chrome, the Google folks have tied those accounts together because I can talk about like something, or I can look up something on my logged in account here at work, and then I'll start getting suggestions for um, those same things at my work account. Um, so I know that. And then on top of that, for like if I set things up, um, or like if I search for things on my Google account at home, then I if I search for things at my home on my personal account, and then I'm at work and I do a search, that search shows up in my type ad. The one from home on my personal account bleeds over into my work account. So now that did not happen when I used to work for DLA. Those accounts were very, very separate. I never saw any bleed over um, between an account of that I was working on at home and then an account that I did at at DLA. Um, but if but at my state account, which is supposed to be a pretty secure account, they have definitely merged those two accounts together. Anyways, I did end up rambling, so maybe if you don't like the rambling, maybe, um, yeah, it's probably not a good idea to like this one then. Maybe you could find one where I was very excited, or you can just wait, and if you see one of my videos, and I don't go off on some weird tangent, just kind of give me feedback that way. But I do understand, like, it is really hard to give feedback because you don't. It's a pain in the butt being logged in um, to these all these various accounts that they want you to log into and all that. And I never do watch any of these on my phone, so I don't even know what you phone people are going through. Um, but anyways, yeah, happy coding and bye.